This is Radar for On the Radar Entertainment Blog, coming to another edition of Movie Reviews Observations number 84. The first movie I watched was called My Little Sister, and it was 90 something minutes, so A, wasn't that long. B, it was multilingual, so some of it was language you didn't know, so you read subtitles. But basically, when you have the movie called My Little Sister, you're thinking about the sister. What it was about is that her brother has like cancer, type of leukemia, whatever, and he has this surgery and he's unable to go back to being this famous theater actor because because they don't want him to die on stage. The whole movie is about him realizing he could probably die, so he goes and drinks and does drugs and hooks up with men and all this other stuff. And the sister continuing to give bone marrow, all this other parts of her just to help her brother, and the mother is a horrible person, and the husband goes, "Why you got to keep helping her? They don't have money, the job issues." And if the movie's called My Little Brother because it's about the brother, that's what the movie should be called. My Little Sister, all it is her taking care of her brother and having marital issues and not being that close with her mother and having kids and her kids and whatnot. So it was okay. Based on the fact that it wasn't that long, it's not like you wasted a lot of time. Then I watched the sequel to Hitman's Bodyguard, called Hitman's Wife Bodyguard. And I liked the first one. I thought Ryan Reynolds and Samuel Jackson, like a buddy cop, a bodyguard and the hitman trying to, this time they're working together instead of against each other. But then they get cast Selma Hayek to be Samuel Jackson's wife, and she's swearing in both languages and just shooting everybody. And then they make Antonio Banderas, this bad guy who's trying to take over the world, and he supposedly had a relationship with Selma Hayek, so way too many coinkydings. And then they said, let's top it. We have Selma Hayek and we got Antonio Banderas. They had two Hispanic actors. Let's throw in another minority actor and have it be Morgan Freeman, who pretty much went in this for like the paycheck. Because obviously, like I said, there's a lot of action, a lot of shooting, a lot of explosions, a lot of dead bodies, blood everywhere, a lot of swearing between Samuel Jackson and Selma Hayek. Morgan Freeman, they make it where he's like the stepfather of Ryan Reynolds, and that he's this amazing bodyguard, the all-time great. But it's not about good or bad, so he could be bought. And it's like, okay, he's really old to be his stepfather. So when he supposedly married Ryan Reynolds' mother, how old was Ryan Reynolds' mother compared to him? It makes more sense that Morgan Freeman is the father or stepfather of Samuel L. Jackson. That would make more sense. And I watch pretty much every movie that Ryan Reynolds is in because I like him. He's likable. He's funny. But yeah, this movie was super cheesy, over the top, bad acting. You're like, oh, there's a lot of funny stuff and a lot of action. But the saving grace, was only 97 minutes. And you have talented actors in there. But there was no point to make a sequel to the movie. It was good the way it was. And then I watched Dream Builders, this kid's movie, where this girl and her father, they've been living alone for a while because the mother left, and they like that. And she's a pet hamster. It's just the two of them. But then this dude starts dating another woman, fiance. They move in. The other girl is all obsessive TikToking on her phone and doesn't like the hamster, doesn't like the girl that much. And she's one of these spoiled brats that she doesn't get her way. The whole world ends. Like, her stepfather, her real father, neglects her, so she's trying to connect with her stepfather. And this girl's life is being ruined, but then she somehow realizes that she can leave her dream and see these little creatures who are dream builders to making people's dreams. And she, of course, explores the world and realizes that she can control the people's dreams and influence the girl who's causing her life trouble. And then it's you got to learn a lesson. And when you learn a lesson, that maybe your stepsister, your future stepsister is not a horrible person. Maybe you should get along with her. So yeah, it was a little flawed movie. But, for a movie being like almost an hour and 20 minutes and being like a kid's movie, it's okay to be flawed as an adult, but a kid's not going to know the difference. So it was pretty good. It's not a big-time company movie, but yeah, pretty good for kids. Then I watched Paper Tigers, and this movie, had a good mix of fighting and martial arts, a good mix of comedy thrown in there, but I feel like it's more of a drama than an action movie, even though it's martial arts. It's these three, like, middle-aged dudes who, one hasn't actually, practiced martial arts in years, and he went overseas, and then, like, the other one has a bum knee from an injury, and the other one hasn't done that specific, kung fu. He's done, like, other martial arts, and they come together because their old sensei has passed away, and they don't know if it was because he died of natural causes or if somebody happened. So the whole movie is them trying to figure out what happened to their sensei, getting over the differences that the three of them have with each other, because some of them may not like each other for things they did, and even though they're middle aged, they try to learn back the kung fu and like basically bring justice to what happened to their sensei, even if they're all out of shape and they're all not on their A game anymore. And Elaine Yu and Ron Ewan and Michael Shannon Jenkins, they did a pretty good job being leads in a movie. Pretty relative unknown actors in this movie, so that was pretty good. Mixture of comedy, drama, and martial arts. Then I watched Vanquish, and I was like, another movie where Morgan Freeman's in it, and it's Ruby Rose. And I pretty much watch every Ruby Rose movie because I like her. I liked her as Batwoman, and Morgan Freeman's an amazing actor. But again, I think they spent the whole budget on Morgan Freeman just talking in a wheelchair, being this amazing cop who's paralyzed from a work incident, and supposedly he's close with Ruby Rose, and Ruby Rose's single mother, and she has this past of her, doing all these things for the Russian bad guys, whatever. And despite the fact that they have a close relationship, he forces her and saying, I kidnapped your daughter, and I won't give her back until you rob these people and kill these people. And it turns to a whole thing with different agencies and all these bad guys coming after her for what she did because things escalated when she tried to steal money. And I'm like, if Morgan Freeman cares about her and her daughter, why the heck does he hold her kidnapped? Just tell her, hey, he's got some people I want to take care of. Can you please do it, even though she said I don't want to go back on my path? Saving Grace, it was 97 minutes, but it was like 80% yippity-yappity talking. There was a few motorcycle car scenes, and there was a few fighting and shooting, but it was pretty darn boring for a movie. And I know Ruby Rose at this point, where she's no longer Orange is the New Black, and she's no longer Batwoman, that she's got to be in the either straight-to-DVD or low-budget movies for her to do stuff, but yeah, this was just not a good movie. Then I watched Breach, where Bruce Willis is the main dude in the movie, but again, the straight-to-DVD or low-budget movie, he isn't in the movie that long, but this one he's in for most of the movie. Thomas Jane, beginning of the movie, a little bit in the middle, and then that's it. And this movie is all about Cody Kersley, and there's all these other actors that I've seen before here and there. But basically, I would not call this action, but I'd call it sci-fi, because people are leaving Earth to colonize other planets, and this is one of the big ships, and Thomas Jane supposedly is in charge of this ship. So he's like in the beginning, so it's like a paycheck for him. So basically what happens is everybody's leaving Earth, and there are people in cryogenesis, like sleeping. And then they have janitors, mechanics, all these other stuff. And this dude is not supposed to be on the ship, but his girlfriend's on the ship, and they have this whole course, the connection with Thomas Jane's daughter out of all the people in the world. And he doesn't know how to do his job, but then things happen, and aliens happen. It's like the movie Alien or any other sci-fi movie where they're on a ship going where they're not supposed to, and this alien race tries to kill them, and you're like, okay, nobody survives, blah, blah, what's going to happen? And they basically set up this movie also where there's like a sequel. Like, Bruce Willis does a lot of his cool action, he's saving the day stuff, but he makes the younger guy, Cody, Kersley, do a lot of it. So it was a flawed movie. It wasn't an action movie. It was a sci-fi feature movie with aliens and a cliche stuff that we've seen in other movies before. And the movie ends on a cliffhanger, so it's like, okay, cool. So the only saving grace was also 97 minutes. But if I had to choose between Vanquish and Breach, I'd probably watch Breach again over Vanquish, because at least Breach had aliens attacking them, and they're trying to save the day. The Paper Tigers had, like, action in there. Same thing with Hitman's Bodyguard 1. Then I watched The Wrong Turn. And I'm like, okay, it's a cliche movie where these young adults or teenagers get lost in the woods, hiking the Appalachian Mountains, and one of the parents are worried, they don't know what's going on. And, people die, like in a lot of movies, and nobody survives, or only one person survives. And they got the quota in here. They had an interracial couple, the main woman in the movie and her black boyfriend. They had a straight couple. The girl who was in the straight couple, she was in Aquarius, the show with David Duchovny, and she was Polaris in Gifted. So I've seen her before. And the black guy, he was on Riverdale. I've seen him before. And then they had an interracial gay couple. So they got interracial couple, straight couple, and interracial gay couple. And of course, in the middle of nowhere. So people are like looking at them in the South way, where it's like, there's a black guy, there's a gay couple. So basically they fit that. They go hiking, it turns out to be crap. People die. But then they're like, okay, that's not how they die because they're in the woods. It turns into these people that are living underground and want to take over the world when the world ends and stuff. And they kill and they torture and they kidnap and they keep them for themselves. But this one dude, the father, man, he will not stop. His name is Matthew Modine. He's trying to do whatever he can. Talk to local people. They won't help. They're like, if people go missing from out of towners, we don't care. We don't want to deal with it. So at the end, the whole movie is him trying to save his daughter. and you're like, okay, cool. So the movie was not just typical people getting lost in the woods and dying, some creature. No, oh, there was these people underground. Okay, cool. But then the movie was a father trying to save his daughter, and then they save the daughter. But then, of course, the dude, before he saves her, she's got to like sleep with the dude in charge so she doesn't die. And I was like, okay, cool. And then that dude comes back even though they survived and stuff. And then, of course, I was like, man, if the movie ends with her dying, that'd be pretty darn stupid of her going back. So obviously it doesn't. But I'm just like, they probably could have cut out 10, 20 minutes of this movie, and it probably would have been way better. But it was actually really interesting because surviving the woods, surviving these crazy people, all this other stuff. So yeah, The Wrong Turn was an okay horror film with different like things like cults and like survival and father-daughter story. But pretty much the best movie I did watch this week, I will say it was The Paper Tigers because of the mix of martial arts, drama, and comedy, and the kids' movie Dream Builder. I would suggest The Wrong Turn if you're interested in survival, like horror film. Breach if you're into sci-fi movies with aliens. And if you want to just watch a bunch of big-time actors swearing and killing people, and action, Hitman's wife, Bodyguard, even though they shouldn't have made it. Vanquish and My Little Sister, I would not waste your time with. So thanks for listening to our edition of Movie Reviews and Observations, number 84. For On the Radar Entertainment Blog, I'm Radar. See you guys next time.